Let's begin with his comments on his current relationship with upper management of the team.
And I'm not saying it was hand-to-hand conflict or combat. It was some real serious heart-to-hearts. And as someone who loves this franchise so much, I felt like it was important to share my opinions about certain things and my vision for how this place can continue to improve and get better long after I'm done. And I give Mark and Brian and Russ a lot of credit for that time and those conversations. And the relationships changed, for sure. I mean, it really did. I saw some really positive things with everybody involved. It wasn't like this, in a relationship and your partner's telling you that you're the cause of all the problems. That wasn't what I was doing. There was a lot of issues and potential solutions. And I'm very proud to be a part of the solution. And those three especially were a big part of the solution as well.
So do you think you'll finish your career here?
Yes, definitely.
Boy, what a difference a year has made, because as of last year, one of the very real possibilities on the Aaron Rodgers radar screen was finish his career somewhere else. And I think he, following the 2021 season, had the opportunity to envision starting over somewhere else, going to a new place, new city, new personalities, new dynamics, new everything, and the expectations that would have gone along with it. Remember, Chris, we were having a hard time identifying that spot where Aaron Rodgers walks through the door and the deck is stacked in his favor the way it was for Tom Brady in Tampa Bay 2 years ago. And so, and also, it dawned on me at one point while that was all happening. If he goes somewhere else and the deck is stacked in his favor and he ends up with the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
And loses in the divisional round or the championship round and doesn't get to the playoffs, all of a sudden, or Super Bowl, already in the playoffs. The narrative just subtly shifts. And we know how narratives, with just a little tweak here or there, can change dramatically. The narrative becomes, he's the reason why the Packers chronically failed to get to the Super Bowl, because he had a chance to go to another team that was built for success, that was ready to get to the Super Bowl. They're the 1 seed. Everything's laid out perfectly for them, and they can't get there. And Aaron Rodgers has an unspectacular game in the postseason, and they don't make it to the Super Bowl. I don't think he wanted that. As long as he stays in Green Bay, you can kind of convince yourself it's not him, it's them, if he doesn't cap his legacy with another Super Bowl appearance or Super Bowl win. He goes somewhere else and he falls short, then all of a sudden you got people like me or others saying maybe it was him.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. I mean, you're right. There was pressure there. We talked about it a lot during the time, too. I mean, again, he's used to having the red carpet out for him and being the king, as we've talked about in Green Bay. That's what they do with quarterbacks. So that's where it's also, I would go, that's another thing. I don't know if you want to try to restart that, or you're not going to be able to get the exact same circumstances and environment you got in Green Bay, where you have been the franchise ever since you took over in 2008, and then just think this new franchise is going to bow down and you're going to be treated exactly the same. No, you got to, kind of earn that. Make relationships, get people to know you. That takes a working, it's kind of a work in progress to get back to what he would have had or has in Green Bay. Hey, the thing I love about Rodgers is I love the answers. To me, he's still one of the best interviews in the sport. All right, I know he went off the rails a few times with McAfee this year and whatever else. All right, so there's some things there I don't disagree. But I love the openness, the candor. I really do. And, to your point, Mike, too, I don't know if it matters. I don't know if there's been more narratives around a player really in recent history, or really ever since I can remember, than Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he has more narratives than any. I'm watching TV yesterday. People, he's only won 1 Super Bowl. He's got all these yards. So he's getting held to that narrative in Green Bay, too. He's in a tough spot. He always is going to be in a tough spot because we all know how freaking talented he is, and he only won 1 Super Bowl. And sure, we can blame him maybe a little bit. And to your point, I think we can blame the Packers a lot. This is going to be an interesting year. It is. I'm very interested to see Green Bay because of a lot of things, even the Devontae Adams and life without him. That's going to be interesting to add on top of this.
We're going to get to that in a second because obviously that's the personnel dynamic that hovers over the team moving forward. But I want to say two things very quickly. One, this offseason, he really didn't suck the oxygen out of the room the way he did last offseason when his apparent desire to be traded, the notion that they told him they'd trade him, and then they said, nah, we don't think we're going to do that. And it all bubbled up the day of the draft. It was a big, nasty mess. He let everybody, especially Packers fans who got caught in the middle of this, wonder what he was going to do. And he claimed that he was 50-50 on whether he was going to retire the weekend before training camp opened. Remember, the sports books started pulling off all the Packers futures bets from the board because the rumor was making the rounds he actually was going to retire. This year, nothing. I mean, this year his big moment was the morning that he said he's coming back, and an hour later, Russell Wilson got traded, so we forgot all about Aaron Rodgers saying he's going back. And that's not news. Status quo. I'm here to announce that everything will stay the same. Well, people don't get excited about that. They don't go nuts about that. They get nuts about unexpected change, like Russell Wilson being traded to the Broncos. So this year he hasn't been that magnet for attention and criticism, and maybe he got his fill for it last year because it was the offseason stuff. It was the in-season stuff.
Yeah.
It was this very palpable sense he was taking a heel turn, that he was consciously, after years of avoiding any and all controversy and not getting himself in the middle of this, he accepted, hey, you know what? I can make some of the people really love me if I accept the fact that some of the people are really going to hate me, and I'm good with that because I'll take the love at one end of the spectrum and tolerate the hate at the other end of the spectrum. And he leaned heavily into that last year. At least that's my perception.
I don't disagree with you there. I mean, to me, I think it ties into a little bit about what we just talked about. You know, I think the guy has more narratives around him and more people that make judgments on him than anybody in football. It's constant. I think maybe he got to the point finally where he's like, you know what? There's just a group of people I'm not going to be able to win over no matter what. Doesn't matter how much I carry the team or do anything like that.
So screw them.
Yeah.
There's a group of people I'm never going to be able to win over. So screw them.
That's the attitude. I feel like it's a little bit what happened where he's like, I mean, just nobody's going to give me respect. You know, after that year, he had every right to act the way he did with Green Bay the last two off seasons. I'm not mad at him, and it didn't make things easy for them, but I'm not mad at him. I don't think you are either, as we've discussed a lot. Green Bay made that bet. I mean, and they made a crappy one, and they were stupid, and they didn't evaluate the situation the right way with the Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers' personal feelings being affected. What I really do is, hey, it's great.
But the drafting of Jordan Love propelled Aaron Rodgers to two consecutive late career MVP awards.
I hear you. You're right. I get that. And I'm not going to deny that didn't have something to do with it or refocus him a little bit or want to shove it up, you know, where the sun don't shine to the front office of the Packers people. Yes, that's the part like, hey, it's cool to hear Rodgers say, hey, we're good, and I know he loves the organization and that the relationship with the front office is better. I'm going to sit here, though, and, like, I don't know if I really buy that. I don't. I mean, here's two things. One, again, here we are in another offseason where they haven't put a ton of talent around him, and he's in a tough spot. Here's the other thing that continues to go through my brain about this situation, and we haven't talked about it recently, so I haven't had a chance to bring this up, but, like, Mike, I'm somewhat, it's not even a conspiracy. I think I'm connecting dots here a little bit. Like, how can he be totally happy with the Packers and the way the Davante Adams thing shook out? How could he be? I mean, the way it looks, and again, maybe there's something I don't know, but, I mean, Rodgers signs the deal, right? And then what was it, 5-6 days later, Davante Adams left for the Raiders, right? Okay, when he signed the deal, he didn't know that Davante Adams was going to the Raiders. He didn't know. And to me, what I want to go is like, Aaron, don't you think Green Bay and Davante Adams knew? They knew. They were like, shh, don't tell Aaron until he signs the new contract. Don't shh. I mean, they worked behind his back. That deal didn't come out of nowhere in 4 days. Green Bay was talking to the Raiders. That was being worked out. So that's another part where I want to go, yeah, I mean, it seems like, okay, I'll believe them. It's all cool. But I want to be like, to me, I think they somewhat sabotaged you again a little this offseason. I'm just going to throw that out there. It's crossed my mind a few times over the last month, and we haven't been able to talk about it.
I like the point you're making, and Pete is nudging me to play the sound. Before we play the sound on Aaron Rodgers talking about Davante Adams, this is something I've been thinking about for the entirety of the conversation. And look, it's my birthday, so I'm not going to choose my words carefully. I think that, let me go ahead and say it, because I don't care. I don't care. It's what I believe. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is as smart as everybody thinks he is. I've come to that conclusion over the last year. And I think Aaron Rodgers believes he's smarter than he really is. And I think the Packers have figured out how to outsmart him. And your point right now is what led me to that statement. Mm-hmm. And the other point that made me think that is the way that they made him believe they actually were pursuing Odell Beckham Jr. last year when they didn't want Odell Beckham Jr.
Right.
They didn't want him. They made him an offer that they knew he would never accept. And they didn't bring out the full treatment that he got from the Rams.
Yeah.
Show the love. If they wanted him, they would have gotten him. They wanted to do enough so Aaron Rodgers would think, oh, hey, you tried to get Odell Beckham Jr. Thank you. Yeah, that would have been great. Oh, I understand why he went to the Rams. Thank you for trying. They didn't really want him, but they made Aaron Rodgers think they wanted him. And that's all relevant to this Davante Adams thing because, as you said, they knew.
Definitely.
Adams knew.
Definitely.
And they found a way to keep Mr. Genius, Jeopardy host potentially, right? Smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
And he'd been that way from the day he showed up in Green Bay because he had to tell everybody what he got on his Wonderlic. And that was one of the reasons why Brett Favre didn't like him, according to Gunslinger, written by Jeff Pearlman, which may become, hell, after the L.A. Lakers thing, make every Jeff Pearlman book a series on HBO.